You know how sometimes you just get really desperate to see something in a group that you really like? Maybe it's a style of music that they haven't done before, or a concept that they just haven't done in a while that you want to see them bring back. Either way, I think we all have at least one group that we really want to see release music in this specific way. Here are just a few of the things I want to see from some groups that I really love. Please buckle your seatbelts and get ready for the ride. By this point, I think all of us would be happy with anything as long as all of the girls are happy and healthy whenever it happens. But as far as comebacks are concerned, I have wanted to see Everglow release a full album for years now. Some of their minis kind of come off as, well, there's only 4 songs here, but that's more than 3, so we can call it an album, right? And while luckily up to this point, Everglow has released enough music to keep the others from before from getting stale, but it is still a bit frustrating when they've already built this great base in their very short albums without ever expanding upon it. Normally, full albums in K-pop are a hit or miss, but I just know Everglow would be one of the few that can figure it out. They have this surprisingly cohesive sound going from titles to B-sides in their releases, and despite the glaring differences between genres from one to the other, they're great at translating their energy over to the rest of the songs as well. Their albums can sort of feel like night and day conceptually, but it never feels jarring enough of a change from song to song to ruin the mood. And their releases always do feel as if every song was chosen with care. I guess I just want to see some of these ideas that they have in their music already fleshed out upon a bit more, and I think a full album would be the best thing to do it on. As far as concepts are concerned, I really just want them to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they're amazing at it, and it definitely has not failed them yet. However, I wouldn't mind a few more R&B inspired tracks, something like Moon from their debut album. Not only do I love the sound that they had in their debut releases, but EU looked amazing in those songs. One of the reasons I love her so much is because of their debut promotions, and I'm really sad we haven't gotten even one other release from them like it since.
Narcissistic, my god, I love it.
Honestly, as long as they're continuing to make good music, I don't have too many complaints. However, only ever releasing singles can start to get a bit tiring after a while, and I would kill to see both these groups release even just a mini sometime in the near future. With IVE, they're still so new that I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but fleshing out their song a bit on an album I think could really help them fully complete the style of music that they're going for and really make it sound a bit more finished and polished. I would love to hear something like Love Dive, a bit watered down as a B-side of sorts on an album, and in general, I would just love to hear what different producers could do with what they've already heard, and also whatever guidance Starship is willing to give them for the album. I think I'll actually be really excited to see where their sound will take them when it comes to exploring albums, and I can't wait to see if they will continue on in this direction or divulge in a completely new one. With DKZ though, I'm a bit more scared, and I guess it's just because they've had so much more time than IVE. They've somehow managed to flesh out their own unique sound through singles alone up to this point, and even their one singular album had 2 tracks on it that were always expected to be titles in the first place, so it feels a bit unfair to judge it as an album. However, unlike with IVE, it's hard to imagine what direction DKZ will go in with their albums. This fun, quirky sound that they've created up to this point isn't something that is usually infused with albums as a whole, which is probably why they've stuck with it for so long on such a tight budget. And even a lot of their special releases are more sentimental, slower songs that also just can't fully complete an album either. Where their music will go when they start expanding on it in their releases is really anybody's guess up to this point, and I am both extremely excited to see them get their first album after over 4 years, and extremely scared at the same time. TXT is one of the few groups remaining that dare to keep things simple. TXT's music flourishes under a confident, trustful support system that relies on what they already know. Even their more quote-unquote complex songs are only complex on the surface, and digging down deeper will almost always reveal an already well-known production pattern. No matter what concept or style they're going for, their music always holds the same key elements. That was, up until Good Boy Gone Bad. This song adds layers to the production that they never needed before, and despite not going too heavy on the more experimental side of K-pop, it does still feel a bit messy in comparison to their other releases. By this point, I'm not even saying I want bright TXT back, I just want this more casual listen that their other songs before offered. TXT were slowly solidifying themselves as the pop group of the 4th gen, much like Twice or SNSD before them, and I definitely don't think it's too late for them to get that title back, but it's time to start working on it and working on it now. I wouldn't even mind the more gritty coming-of-age style of concept that they had going for them in Love Song and Loser Lover, as long as we get the same quality of production back again. If I were to get a bit greedy though, I would love to see more of the magical side of TXT that they explored in Crown and Runaway. I especially like the way Crown felt. It had this feeling of childlike innocence running through it, but it also had a deeper second meaning to it, and their simple production style is what made this sound so achievable. I just really hope that with whatever comes next, TXT go back to their roots and explore more of what they've already built upon. Personally, I think airplane mode would make an amazing next comeback for these girls, but if they're looking to try something a bit different, I do still have a few ideas for them. Vimpara was supposed to be the girls diving deeper into their lore, which revolves around the planets. As far as the music video goes, the planets were definitely more involved than their previous releases. However, when it comes to the music, I still just don't see the correlation, and I think a lot of people would agree. It's really just this heavier sounding song slapped over some really beautiful images, and a lot of people were kind of confused on how this correlated with their previous concept and style. I saw a lot of people saying that they thought they would go for something more like what WJSN used to do. This sort of magical girl concept mixed in with their planets theme would have looked really amazing, and I'm sure the girls would have looked beautiful in such a majestic sort of concept. I think they also could have even infused this with their more cutesy tracks later down the line as well if they really wanted to. I think this was a missed opportunity to go in that direction, and I think it would have fit them and their lore more than Vimpara ever would. However, if they want to change it up completely on us again, I wouldn't mind a sentimental piece from them as well. Maybe something along the lines of this really nostalgic sounding EDM that was popularized during 101's time, or even something outside the realm of K-pop completely, like STAYC's more recent comeback with Beautiful Monster. I really love both these sounds so much, and I think they bring a really raw and open feeling to music. And they're both styles that I think Weeekly pull off really well, while still diverging from their cuter concept at the same time. If they really wanted to put their backs into it, I'm sure they could even fit these ideas and use them for their concept as well. Sadly, I do think we are past the days where this could have been a possibility, but hey, a girl can still dream, right? Stray Kids tend to do what some other groups do and release music through what I like to call eras. Even though they themselves don't always label these as such, there's almost always at least one characteristic that reveals itself through their music throughout a few releases at a time. Sometimes it's a concept like the I Am series, sometimes it's a common theme running through like with Miro and Side Effects, and sometimes it's the style of music like with whatever the hell they had going with them from God's Menu up to Thunderous. And believe it or not, this is what I miss. I do think Maniac, and now Case 143, is kind of the start of whatever new era they're in now, and while I do love it a lot, I do still think there was a missed opportunity with Thunderous specifically. The God's Menu and Backdoor albums took this really loud and almost annoying sound and brought it to life in a different way. The albums read naturally and almost seemed to breathe with the way each song lined up on it. They were very well thought out albums and complemented each other as well as their respective titles perfectly. However, Thunderous just kind of felt like all the ideas that couldn't find a place on the previous album thrown into this one. It's just song after song with no obvious distinction between them or why they were put on the album in the first place. It feels rushed and almost like an attempt to just release some extra songs that they had laying around. With all that said, I actually do really like this loud and crazy, all over the place sound on an album, and I think with the same amount of care that was put into the previous albums before it, as well as maybe a bit of a shorter runtime, an album like this could come out sounding really well. I would just love to get an album from them where they could just go all out and every single song is as heavy and hard-hitting as they could possibly make it, but where there's still an obvious attention to detail in the song choices like I can see in all of their other releases. Stray Kids is already known for their noise music, why not make it even louder if given the chance? And that's all that I have for today. Let me know what sound or style that you're looking out for from one of your favorite groups. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you next time, travelers.